Welcome back, guys, to another episode of Haxenhunt. Today's video we are going to be shooting two of some of my favorite bows. Actually, we've got the Mathews VXR 31.5 up against the Hoyt AXIUS ALPHA. So we got the short axle Hoyt against the longer VXR. So we're gonna see which one's shooting better, see which one feels better, and then go ahead and decide which one I would rather take home with me today. So if you guys want to figure out which bow I'd rather go home with today, then go ahead and stay tuned. First up to bat is going to be the VXR 31.5. Great feeling bow, looks really good. It's a great overall bow. So the specs are 31.5-inch axle, and so this is going to be a longer axle bow up against the shorter Hoyt AXIUS ALPHA. And so this one's going to have a wider string angle, and I'm a fan of that. So we are going to decide whether the Hoyt can outshoot the Mathews due to this having a better string angle, which I'm a big fan at. So right here we've got the balance. It does want to tip that way, but it could be just due to that sight. It just doesn't really fit very well in my hand. In the pocket in between my pointer finger and my thumb, kind of there in that little V there. So let's do the drawback. So we are shooting a 70-pound limbs, 70-pound mods. Shoot the VXR, so it's different mods that change that weight, and then a 29-inch draw. So with the Mathews, you change the mods for draw length and draw weight. So you got to buy a new mod for every time you change that, or you can use the bolt and go from 60 to 70 or 50 to 60 or whatever mod you have. You can adjust that within 10 pounds, which is nice. But draw length, you got a fixed position until you change out that draw. So let's do the drawback. So it's got a smooth draw, but I do feel like it drops into that valley pretty harsh. A little bit more harsh than I would like. But that shot, the after shot, basically, with the hand shot can jump forward, it is probably one of the most dead in the hand bows I've personally shot for the 2020 lineup. So I'm a big fan of that. The way that the pin does settle in, though, let's do it one more time. So having that pin settle in, I feel like it's wanting to float a little bit more than I like, but not a whole lot. But that back wall, I'll show you guys that back wall real quick. Let's check out those cams. So it's a pretty solid back wall. Got a little bit of sponge to it, which is kind of nice, but it's pretty solid. Feels good. Smooth shooting bow. Let's do one more, and then really focus in on the follow through and see how that bow feels following through. Yeah, it's not wanting to jump out or have much of a hand vibration there. So I'm a big fan of that aspect of the bow. String angle's a perfect string angle for me. It just hits right there on my nose. But let's go grab those arrows and then go ahead and shoot the AXIUS ALPHA and see how that's shooting up against the VXR 31. So next up is going to be the Axius Alpha. Right there, we're going to begin with the balance, and I feel like this bow does sit and fit in my hand perfectly. That grip just settles in right here really nice, so I don't have to hold it at all with that VXR. I feel like I kind of have to pinch it, so that way it doesn't have to, like, it doesn't fall out of my hand. Let's show the draw cycle. So we are at 29-inch draw, as well as 70-pound limbs as well. This kisser button's a little too high for me. I'll just pop it off for now. I personally don't use a kisser button, but I'll put that back on here in just a sec. So let's focus on that string angle, because that VXR had a much wider string angle. So right here's where I settle in with that VXR, and right here is where I have to come down for the Axius Alpha. Okay, so it is a good, smooth feeling shooting bow. Let's focus in. So I'll show you guys the draw, or the back wall, and then I'll focus in on that hand shock after that shot. I like the draw cycle a little bit more on this bow. So it's got a little bit of a spongier back wall, which with the hinge I'm a little bit more of a fan of. So it doesn't jump forward too much. There's a little bit of hand shot compared to that VXR, but nothing like to really complain about. It is a little bit of a difference, but it's not going to change the game for me. The biggest thing is going to be that string angle for me. And I feel like this pin settles in so much better. I just feel like it drops into that bullseye or that target and just stays right there. And I kind of feel like with that VXR I'm fighting it. But that's kind of my opinion on the first initial shooting out of these two bows. And this one doesn't have as much wobble back and forth once you drop into that valley either. I like it. I like shooting that bow a lot. That string angle though, I do find myself having to basically get into my anchoring point and then drop my nose down, touch, and then release. That way I know I'm in the same spot every single time. But we're going to grab those arrows and we're going to throw them through the chronograph, as well as check the weights and everything of the bows and kind of compare them that way, and then decide which bow I'd rather go home with today. I'm going to throw the Axius Alpha up here on the scale, check the weight of this bow, hook that on, and we're at 5.27, and switch it out for the VXR 31.5. Reset this. There we are at 5.34. So that VXR is a little bit longer axle to axle, and then has a longer riser there, so that one is just a slight bit heavier, which is a given. So now we are going to put up the chronograph, shoot them through that, see how fast they're shooting. Okay, so first one up through the chronograph is going to be the Hoyt AXIUS ALPHA. Set up 29-inch draw, 70-pound limbs. We are at 295. So good shot there. And let's do a second arrow. Both of these arrows are weighing in at 437 grains. and a duplicate at 295. So that is a very consistent shooting bow at 295 FPS, and that is with a 437 grain arrow. So this is my personal hunting arrow that I use. I'll probably be adding 50 grains this year, but let's do. Now we've got the VXR 31, which is at 31.5 axle, set up at 29-inch draw and 70-pound lens as well. .286. That is 9 FPS slower than what my AXIUS ALPHA is. And a duplicate, 286. So both of those are very consistent shooting bows. They are not changing the speed out of both shots, so that's really nice. Both are great shooting bows. We're going to head back over to the range, do a 2-arrow grouping, and go ahead and pick which one I'd rather go home with. We are going to double check the draw weight of these bows and see if they are running with a true 70 pounds. Put this here on the string. That VXR is at 69 pounds. And then let's go with the Hoyt AXIUS ALPHA. We're just going to take a shaft here. I'm going to go ahead and get this ready. Ready to roll. And take off one little piece of the vinyl. That one hit 71.1 pounds. So pretty even there, within a pound. But now let's go shoot them downrange. Time for a 2-arrow grouping out of both bows. Up first is going to be the AXIUS ALPHA. We are going to shoot this one, 2 arrows downrange. Settle in. And follow through. Not sighted in, shooting pretty low, but aim in the same spot. Get grouping. Pretty close group there. And now up for 2 arrows out of the VXR 31. And I feel like I fight the pin a little bit more on this VXR to stay where I need to stay than the AXIUS. Okay. Let's head on down there and see what those 2 groups are looking like. Alright, first group here is going to be out of the AXIUS ALPHA, and then second group up here is going to be out of that VXR. So AXIUS is holding a little bit of a tighter group, and I do feel like that is due to it settling in a little bit more, and I feel like I'm fighting that VXR to stay on the target a bit more. So that's what I would say it'd be from. That is going to conclude this video, guys, shooting the VXR 31 up against the AXIUS ALPHA, basically Mathews versus Hoyt. And both are great feeling and shooting bows. I'd highly recommend shooting either one of these. I'm going to say that the VXR has a better string angle due to it being a longer axle to axle, so that's kind of a given there. Also a little bit more dead in the hand after each shot. The AXIUS ALPHA, I feel like it's got a smoother draw and then drop into that back wall, which I'm a big fan of. and then also settles in and stabilizes a little bit better on the target. So both have their pros, both have their cons. And if I was to buy one today, this one's hard. I really like both of these bows, but accuracy is going to kind of get me on this one. So I feel like I'm personally a bit more accurate with the Hoyt AXIUS, and so that'd be the one that I'd go home with today. That is my choice. And so I recommend each and every one of you guys to go down to your nearest dealer if possible, shoot these two bows up against each other and decide which one feels better in your hand. But big thanks to everyone that watches my videos and has subscribed. We are closing in on the 2,000 subscriber mark. So excited. We are like 1880 right now, and yeah, really stoked to hit 2,000 here pretty soon. But just want to say huge thanks to every one of you guys. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. Really appreciate it. And comment down below what videos you guys want to see. Big thanks to Terry here at TNT Archery letting me come on in and shoot and to be able to shoot the bows. And we will catch you guys next time.